Hey guys, this is Key coming at you with our first game. This is Vampire Counters Warriors of Chaos. It's just a friendly game at 2,500 points. Let's get started, shall we? On the left flank, he set up a unit of Blood Crushers. He's proxying it with a couple of demons he has, and a unit of Warriors. In that unit of Warriors, he has his level 2 Sorcerer with a Chaos Familiar, Crown of Command, Mark of Nurgle, and Luckstone, and the Enchanted Shield. And his BSB is in that unit as well. Mark of Nurgle, Shield, Ogre Blade, and Dragon Helm. His center unit, he is proxying warriors as Forsaken, and behind that he places Demon Prince with Chaos Armor, Scaled Skin, Demonic Flight, Mark of Nurgle, Dawnstone, Poisonous Slime, and level 1. And he follows that off on the right flank with his unit of 6 Knights. Starting off with my deployment, on the right you see my I have a unit of 50 zombies and a necromancer with Talisman of Protection and Dispel Scroll. Followed by, on the left of that unit, you can see I have 2 units of Hex Race and a huge bunker of 10 Karn Race with a Banshee upgrade. So a lot of points sink there. Now, I know you can't see this in this picture or the last, but to the left of the Karn Race, inside the forest, is my Vampire Lord with Heavy Armor, Shield, Barded Nightmare, Scab's Wrath, Others Trickster Starred, Luckstone, Charm Shield, Red Fury, Arv Dark Majesty, and Beguile. It's a huge point sink, but I wanted something killy. And 5 Black Knights, full command, and with lances and barding on all of them. And then to the left, you can see I have skeletons, 48 of them, with another necromancer with Master of the Dead, level 2, 4-up Talisman, and following up my left flank, all the way on the left, is a unit of another 50 zombies with level 2 Channeling Staff and Opal Amulet. And the skeletons have full command and more banner. And before the game begins, my Hex Race just Vanguard up to the front to try and make sure that I can get away from the knights. So here we go over the magic that each other have. Sorcerer has the Stream of Corruption, Curse of Leper, Fleshy Abundance, and his Demon Prince has Rancid Visitation. My leftmost Necromancer has Hellish Vigor. The left to center Necromancer has Van Hale's Dance Macabre. And my right Necromancer has Curse of Years. And all 4 wizards, including my Necromancer, or my Vampire Lord, have Invocation of Nehek. On to turn 1, as you can see, he moves his Blood Crushers up, and his Warriors and Forsaken just slide up. He does hide his Demon Prince behind his Blood Crushers, moving them from the Forsaken. So I don't know what he's going to do over there, but it just one less magical weapon I have to worry about. He follows up the same way with his Knights on the right and his Forsaken. And this one I'm kind of worried about. His Knights are really close to my Hex Race, and they're probably one of the few things that can just absolutely annihilate those X-Rays out. And we're on to the first magic phase. He rolls a 7, I get a 4, and I get 4 dice. He begins by casting Fleshy Abundance on 3 dice, but fails, and that knocks that sorcerer out. I'm happy. So he tries Rancid Visitation on 4 dice, and I'm able to dispel that via my dice. And so we start off, since there's no shooting, no combat, into my turn 1. And my Hex Race just goes straight through one of the Knights and straight through the Forsaken. He moved them close enough that I'm able to do that, and I reform, because I'm fast cav, back around so that next turn I can just do it again. Still, because most everything is inside of my march distance, 12-inch range, the zombies are able to move up to the point where they can kind of block my Karn rates from the knights at least just a little bit to make sure that the distance from closest to closest is a lot longer. Um, and this will come to help me. The Karn rates move up just slightly, just enough to kind of keep going, but they don't march, and neither do my Black Knights. I don't want to get them in combat. I want to get the charge off. And again, you can see my skeletons come up a lot further to try and cut off as much of the as I can. I don't want those blood crushers going into my Black Knights and my zombies, because they aren't within the march distance, only moves up 4 inches. And we move on to the bottom of phase, or bottom turn 1 magic phase. My magic phase, I get 7 dice, he gets 5. My first cast is Curse of Years on 3 dice, and he dispels using all his dice. So there I use the 4 dice left to do Invocation on the left of center, and I get off 5 skeletons and 12 zombies, and then the leftmost does Invocation again and gets 9 more zombies, so my left flank is looking amazing, as you can see here. And on to his turn 2, he charges my zombies with his Demon Prince, and I cannot be happier about that. He can kill them all day long as far as I'm concerned. Get that thing out of the game. His Blood Crushers go against my Skeletons, and that's happy for me too. Granted, he's on my flank, so I'll lose an extra guy, but I don't care. I just want to tie the magic weapons up. He also tries to charge the warriors into the skeletons, but fail, and that brings him closer to me, makes me happier as well. He moves his warriors, or his Forsaken up, and just to try and match and make sure I don't get a flank attack. He also tried to charge his knights into my Karn race. He rolled about 2 inches shy and ended up moving up around 6 or 7 inches, and that's perfect for me. I'm right in range, and I can tar pit them for at least a couple turns with my zombies. I'm extremely happy about that. And on to his magic phase. He gets 11 spell dice, and I get 6. He starts off by casting Fleshy Abundance on his Blood Crushers on 6 dice, and I just let it go. Reasoning was that my skeletons were already going to uh, wound on 6s before it, so why would I worry about that? And then he decided to cast Curse of the Leper, and I used everything I could to dispel that. I just didn't want that around. And we move on to combat. The Demon Prince challenges I don't accept with my Necromancer. He just runs to the back, and he ends up killing 8 zombies, and only 4 die from combat res because I'm a static 4 with the standard and 3 ranks. And the Blood Crushers kill 16 skeletons. And that includes the combat res of +4, so it must have been around 8 or around 10, 10 skeletons they killed that turn, and combat res. But we did 1 wound back, so maybe did 11 to 1, something like that. However, I do pass the reform to face him. We end up not moving the models to face him. It's just they all shift to the left and end up doing like an 8x5 to face them rather than a 5x8. I just didn't want them to block my Black Knights from getting into combat like I wanted to. Onto the bottom of 2, my Black Knights end up charging into the Warriors, and I'm really happy about this at first. Uh, I'm hoping that the Black Knights can do well at Strength 4 against Toughness 4, and they'll do my Vampire Lord will just annihilate and challenges that he has to accept because he's warriors. And I end up my Karn race are at about 14 inches with movement 6. I decided rather than risk charging and not getting as close as I want, I just move up full 12 inches, and I'm like an inch and a half away, maybe 2 inches, and force him to just come straight at me next turn if he's going to get into combat with those guys. So it just forces that unit to do, and I can scream. So I'm happy about that. Now my zombies on the right end up charging and hitting those knights. Uh, I'm extremely happy about that. Those knights are out of at least 2 turns. Um, so it just gives me a lot more maneuverability with my hex race, not having to worry about that. Um, the hex race that went through the knights end up going to the left and just facing and hopefully just threatening the flank for now of those Forsaken right there. And the hex race that went through the Forsaken go through them again, and because there's not enough space between the Forsaken and the Karn race, they pop out right behind the Karn race, about an inch from, and they end up killing about 4 Forsaken. And we move on to the magic phase. I get 7 dice, he gets 6. I try and cast Invocation on 1 dice with my left to center Necromancer. I fail that, so I'm in a bad position. I cast Invocation on two dice with the leftmost Necromancer, and it goes off, and he tries to dispel it using 3 dice, and he doesn't. So I get 4 zombies, or 4 skeletons, and 7 zombies back. I then try and do Curse of Years on 3 dice, since he only has 3 remaining, but I fail, and with the 1 dice remaining, I just throw it at Dan's Macabre. Why not? And I fail that as well. So we move on to shooting. I get Banshee Howl into the Warriors, and I get a 4 on 2d6, so that's a 6, and it's less than their leadership, so no wounds. Because of my weapon, I'm able to Death Shriek onto the Warriors, and I cause 3 wounds because of a 9 on 2d6 plus 3 for my wounds minus their leadership, which is 9. It's 3 wounds, 3 dead. We start off with the knights, and he mistakenly he had a Marcus Slanesh, but he rolled them as Market Corn, so he got a few extra attacks and ended up killing 17 zombies, including combat res. So as you can see, I'm kind of hurting over there. We didn't catch that till later. I do manage to kill 1 knight, which is remarkable. We end up moving on to the zombies and Demon Prince. And the zombies only lose by 1, so he only kills 5. And so I lose 6 total zombies. It's looking great over there. The skeletons, because they're now facing and they have parry now, they lose by 4. And the Vampire Lord issues a challenge, and he accepts it with the BSB. The BSB dies before he can even fight back, which I'm extremely happy about. I did about 4 wounds. However, he kills 3 Black Knights in his initiative, and so with 1 back, he does nothing, and combat res, I lose by 1. So the remaining Black Knight dies, and it's just the vampire left. And so we move on to turn 3 of Warriors of Chaos, top turn 3, and all he does is reforms the Forsaken in his movement phase to be a 6x4 rather than a 10x3. Moving on to magic, he gets 3 dice, I get 2. He tries to cast Curse of the Leper on 3 dice, but he fails, so that's it for magic. And we move on to combat. The zombies on the right end up tying combat. He only kills 4 zombies, so very lucky here. I think this is the turn we figured out that they didn't get the extra attacks from Frenzy, so that saved my ass a little bit. And then in combat on the left, the Demon Prince kills like 6 zombies, and I lose combat by 1 or 2. I may have done a wound back at this point, but that's about it. He has a 2-up, so it's kind of hard. The Blood Crushers kill not 6 skeletons, and because I'm reformed in a bad way, I lose combat by 3, so 9 skeletons total die. So it's slowly starting to whittle down. The Vampire Lord challenges again, and he answers it with the champion. I do about 4 or 5 wounds to the champion, and I win combat res because of that by 2. But he's stubborn on a 9, he stays. Moving on to turn 3, bottom turn 3, VC. I charge with the Karn Race, I charge with the Hex Race, and so we have the combat with the Forsaken there. And my other Hex Race just end up moving to the other side of the warriors, since they weren't able to see them, they weren't able to charge and help out this turn with the Vampire Lord. And we move on to magic. I get 7, he gets 6. I can't seem to kind of pull away from him in dice when I need it most. Invocation of Nehek goes off on the leftmost necromancer, so I get 14 zombies back and 7 skeletons, allowing me to kind of live for a few more turns, hopefully. And Invocation of Nehek left to center, that one got dispelled by him. And then I did Invocation of Nehek on the right guy as well, using 3 dice, and he ended up irresistibly dispelling that. He didn't have enough to dispel it, but he got double 6s. Lucky bastard. I then start my shooting with the Banshee Howl into the Forsaken. I only roll 5, so no wounds. And then I shriek into the warriors, rolling an 8, doing 2 wounds and killing 2. Moving on to the bloody combat that we have, if vampires can bleed. The zombies on the right lose 2 more by combat res, so he only kills 4. And the Karn Race kill 5. And the Hex Race, they end up breaking. The Hex Race end up running them down. And I apologize, I think I forgot to take the other picture. The Vampire Lord challenges the Sorcerer and does 1 wound. So the Vampire Lord loses combat res by 2 just because of the ranks. So he's in trouble. He has 1 wound remaining. The DP ties Demon Prince ties combat with the zombies, so they just stay there. And the Blood Crushers end up killing 10. So the skeletons are whittling down, and they're pretty close to being done. Because there's no movement, we move right into the magic phase for turn 4, top turn 4. He gets 9 dice, I get 6. He casts Curse of the Leper on 3 dice, and I just want to get rid of it, so I Dispel Scroll it. I remembered I had a Dispel Scroll at this point, and I just, why not, get rid of it. And then he tries to cast Fleshly Abundance on 6 dice, and he irresistibles. So, that scares me. He rolls an 8 on the miscast chart, and because Fleshy Abundance went off, he does no wound to himself, but he does do a wound to his Demon Prince. It's kind of a... You'll see this one spell really makes the game for him. In combat, the Vampire Lord is just unable to do anything against Toughness 7 on his Sorcerer. So he just ends up dying of combat res. He reforms facing the way he's facing right there to try and get so that my Karn Race will be able to be flanked by his blood crushers if he's able to, since he was able to also just killing and get rid of all the skeletons by either combat res. Um, the Demon Prince ends up killing 6 zombies again, so I lose combat res by 2, and 8 die, no real worry. Uh, and the knights end up killing 6 zombies and 3 more crumble. So it's close, but not too bad. Because the vampire lord died, I have to take a crumble test on everything, and then one of my necromancers, the one I choose, is the one that's up against the demon prince, because that seems to be the safer one. Uh, will take over, and no zombies end up crumbling because of the necromancers being leadership 7 in there. However, 3 hex wraiths die on the leftmost unit. The top unit completely just withers away, and 1 Karn Wraith dies because I roll a 7. And so I have really no choice in the bottom of turn 4. I have to charge because I have no movement, no march. I have to charge into these warriors with the Karn Wraith, and the Hex Wraiths go into the back of it. Now that there's 3 gone, they're in the back of it, and it allows them to kind of add to the combat res, hopefully. And hopefully, just since they can't do anything back. So we move on to the magic phase, and I roll double 6s for the Winds of Magic. I'm ecstatic. He can get 2, he got both channels, so it's a little bit even, but not really. I decide I need to get Curse of Years off on those warriors. I need to cut down it down to 1 rank rather than 2, and just try and get rid of some of them to win from combat res. I need to get rid of some, and I fail. On 4 dice, I need a 10, and I fail. So I throw 6 dice at the largest version of Invocation of Nehek. I figure the leftmost guy, he's 18 inches away from the Hex race and the Karn race. I might as well get him done, get him out, since I can't do anything else. And he irresistibly dispels me using 1 less dice than I used to cast it. Another. And so with the 2 remaining dice, there was really nothing for me to do. 12-inch range, I couldn't put it on anybody else, so I put Hellish Vigor on the zombies. Hopefully maybe able to put a wound or 2 into the Demon Prince, and he dispels it using 3 dice, so I do nothing this magic phase. And so I'm on to shooting, and the Banshee howls into the warriors and rolls an 11 on 2d6. It really helps out because it does 5 wounds, 5 dead warriors. And so we move on to combat. The Karn race end up doing no wounds against toughness 7 warriors. I tried to throw 4 attacks into the sorcerer just to get rid of him so that I could get rid of Crown of Command, and the Hex race do nothing as well. So they win or we win combat by 2 because of the rear charge, but they're still stubborn. They stay. So in a combat that I have to win, I have to run them down. I have to get rid of them. They stay. The Demon Prince ends up killing 6, so I lose combat by 2 yet again. However, I still have a ton of zombies left. And the knights end up finishing off those zombies. We end up moving on to the top of turn 5, and the blood crushers get into the flank, and those knights just charge into the rear of my Karn race, and I just can't do anything about it. It's pretty much over. We go on to the magic phase, and he gets 9 dice, I get 5. I still can't channel, even though I have channeling staff. It's just ridiculous at this point. he tries to throw 4 dice at Fleshy Abundance on his warriors to make him even harder to kill yet again. But he fails, and most of his spells are on this guy. The only other spell he has is a magic missile, which can't be cast into combat, so magic phase is over. We move on to combat, and he does 10 straight up wounds to my Karn race, and the entire unit is unable to do anything back. I tried to throw some wounds into the knights since they were toughness 4, and just try and get rid of the shit in the back, but to no avail. I probably should have continued to throw everything into the warriors just to try and get combat res out of it. However, everything crumbles and it's gone. So at the top of bottom of turn 5, my turn starts, and this is what I'm looking at with just a unit of zombies, a necromancer, already stuck in combat. There's really nothing I can do, so we decide to call it right here and there. So we go down and just, these are the lessons I've learned from this game. I mean, I lost, so I have to learn lessons. I think 100% combat lords are dangerous. They just didn't make their points back. He did really well, but without a unit to help him, Black Knights aren't that good. He could not win. And then when he died, things just went to shit. Losing too much. Vampire Counts has to win the magic phase. So whether that means more guys or different setup for the guys I have, the necromancers, where I, instead of ward saves, do cheaper ward saves and power scrolls or something where I can throw extra dice. I need to win the magic phase. And Fleshy Abundance is dangerous. I think it's more dangerous than Curse of the Leper now. I was worried about Curse of the Leper because D3, minus D3 toughness on my stuff. Most is toughness 3. If he gets a 5 or 6, the entire unit just dies. Fleshy Abundance, I think, is worse. It's not that 1/3 of a chance. It is that hammer of I can't kill it. And level 2s are just not enough. I'm probably going to go back with this list and take points away from my Vampire Lord and go back into upgrading one of the Necromancers to a level 4. So I wanted to thank y'all for watching, listening, and if you have any other comments, feel free to comment this video, comment on my tactics. I want to learn. That's why I'm doing this, to beat into my head the lessons I learn about my games. So thank you.